Hey guys, I just want to make a little video here and kind of display some of my art, some of my artwork. A lot of you guys don't know I am an artist. Not a professional artist, of course. This is just a hobby to me, a little thing I do for fun. But I do like to make paintings and illustrations and kind of express the human condition through my artwork and express my feelings and emotions through art. And this is a little painting I did, watercolor. It's called Bill Gates After Being Submitted to 20 Years of Torture by World War II Japanese Scientists. And it's just a little thing I kind of put together. Of course, I'm talking about the Unit 731. You can Google that if you don't know what that is. Those are the Japanese scientists in question. And these were some nasty guys. I mean, they were some bad guys. They did some kind of some pretty dubious experiments during World War II. I won't get into detail. You can kind of research that on your own. But the good news is there is a happy ending to the story. The U.S. government paid these men and forgave them of their war crimes, and we brought them to America, and we taught them about freedom and capitalism and democracy and all the great things that we have here, and we turned them into good guys. And so instead of doing kind of torturous, nightmarish experiments in Japan, they were working for us here, for the CIA. And yeah, so that's nice. But now, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. When I made this painting, I don't want Bill Gates to be tortured or to suffer any type of pain. I love this guy. I mean, he is a humanitarian. He's a charitable guy. He's done so much for the children in Africa. If you ever look up pictures of him in Africa, you can always see him. He's sort of like with the children, and he's holding them, and you can tell he just really loves kids. I mean, he loves really anyone under the age of 18. He loves. And but unfortunately, when you are an artist like me, sometimes you have to express the darkness of the world, the negativity of the world, and you have to kind of paint an ugly picture, if you will. If you'll forgive the pun. But yeah, so this is just a little thing I put together, and no big deal. So as I was sitting there, letting my my brush kind of do the work, kind of paint this image that I had in my mind about Bill Gates being tortured. I was thinking, and I couldn't help but remember this really famous quote he had that that quote just stuck with me. Where he said, flipping burgers is not beneath your dignity. Your grandparents called that opportunity. So take a second. I'd like you to take a second and think about that quote and what it means. Very inspirational quote from the billionaire Bill Gates, who owns more farms and more land than anyone else in America. I don't know if that's a real stat. I'm saying that because my source for that stat is my heart. I believe that in my heart to be true. That's my source. Bill Gates, the humanitarian who loves children. He loves children so much. Telling me that flipping burgers is not beneath my dignity. That makes me think about how when we struggle to get through this little game that we call life, and we are sitting there at our job making $10 an hour to flip burgers at McDonald's. And sometimes we get kind of hard on ourselves, and we think, man, I wish I could be doing something better than this. But we have to remember that this is an opportunity. This is something that's going to actually bring us a lot of wealth in the future, just like our grandparents. Remember when your grandfather bought his house for $30,000? Remember that? Remember when your grandfather was flipping burgers and he paid his way through college flipping burgers? And then he pressured you into going to college and you had to take out a loan for $250,000 and then you couldn't get a job with your degree? Remember when you told your grandfather about Bitcoin when it was $200 and he said, that sounds like a scam? And then he read about it in Forbes magazine 10 years later and bought it for $20,000, and then it went down to $10,000 and he was like, see, I knew it was a scam. Remember when your grandfather you told your grandfather that you had bought a video game for $50 and he was like, oh, you're never gonna get ahead in this world, you don't know how to manage your money? And then he went on a cruise for $10,000, spent $10,000 on a fucking cruise to the Bahamas. Remember when your grandfather said, you told your grandfather, hey, I have $5,000, I'd like to invest it in something, can you give me some advice, Grandpa? Hey Pop, can you give me some advice? I saved up five grand. I'd like some investment advice because I see that you're living well. What should I do? And he said, you should put it in a savings account, kid. You're going to compound 1% interest. It's going to be a great return for you. You're going to make so much money off of this $5,000, putting it in a fucking savings account, making 1% interest a year. That's going to be a great investment for you. And then you waited 10 years and you had about $5,500 from the interest, and you couldn't even buy a used fucking Toyota with it. Remember that? So, as we remember these things, these moments in our lives with our grandparents, and we remember the great words of wisdom bestowed upon us by Bill Gates, the guy who loves kids. I just want you guys to kind of reflect on that and kind of think, maybe this job isn't so bad. You know what I mean? Maybe I should be thankful for my job at McDonald's.